And personally, have been involved with Telangana for the inception of the idea of Telangana issues for the last since 1998. You know what happened was once, I think somewhere in early 1999 or 98, Professor Jaishankar happened to visit his brother in New Jersey, and he had one of my good friends, the name Mansuda Reddy. He happened to hear him, and he called knowing what was happening in Telangana. So 2 days later he called me, Gopal, this is what is happening in Telangana. The reason he called me because he knows that I'm a kind of a community activist. I just finished my term as American Telugu Association ATA presidency, and he thought I had free time to engage in another cause. So I started studying the Telangana issue. So when we discussed it, we need to structurally engage our interest, our commitment to Telangana. So we established an organization called Telangana Development Forum, and I was one of the founding members. And at the same time, we got a status. The IRS, Internal Revenue Service of the United States, gave us a permission. Any contributions to this organization are tax deductible. So if somebody is in a 40-50% bracket, so they can write off 50% of the contribution to Telangana Development Forum activities from the taxes. So these are the kind of things we did. So after that, what we did was, we wanted to, as debated, power prop there. So we just need to have this, the reality of what is happening in Telangana to be propagated among the informed public in Telangana here itself, and at the same time, we need to educate our own NRIs back in US also. So to do that, we invited Professor Jaishankar and the late Professor and we conducted initially in the year 2000 a seminar at ATA. ATA is a very open organization, and because of my involvement, there was no objection. It's an issue of development, and at the same time social commitment, community commitment. And after that, we made them travel all across US and have small gatherings and meetings, and that is how the injustices that were being done to Telangana were propagated among our NRI friends. So besides that, to do a better job, so what we did was, we wanted to create a kind of cultural identity among Telangana people. So to do that, we started doing Batkama picnics. So every city we promoted Batkama picnic, which is unique in the Telangana custom. So through those kind of cultural activities, so we created a Telangana cultural identity among Telugu NRIs in the country. Believe it or not, today, the Dallas City Batkama picnic probably is the largest in the world. For the last few years, about more than 5,000 people come to the picnic to play Batkama. I don't think any city here has that big a gathering, to my knowledge. So this is what we did. And at the same time, personally I got involved to start talking about, I visited several times. I used to visit small university campus. In those days, BJP was in government. And I made some trips to Delhi. I had an interaction with the folks that are in there. And at the same time, we helped Professor Jaishankar, and also we helped form Telangana Information Trust to have to gather all the information about the injustices and have make it like a think tank on the issues related to Telangana. So all these kind of things we did behind the scenes. So when KCR, when he found out that Telangana people are showing interest in Telangana, I personally called me. Before that, I had some interaction with late Indira Reddy also. But Indira Reddy, TDP divided, and Indira Reddy himself showed interest in Telangana cause. But I had a good interaction with him. I told him, Indira Reddy, the reason that you are saying Telangana is not sinking into the minds of Telangana people because unfortunately the fear in Telangana those days was not the injustices that are being meted by the powers that are, but there was a bigger fear of Naxalism those days. So until the fear of Naxalism is on the downside, any politically conscious individuals cannot take a discuss. So fortunately, 3-4 years later, the fear of Naxalism kind of decreased, and that was the time KCR, he called us, personally called me, I'm looking for help, NRIs want to start an organization. So we gave him all the necessary moral courage to start an organization. That's what we did. We were the kind of players behind it. Probably people the NRIs were being involved. And at the same time, we helped Professor Jaishankar to do his job of making the issue alive in intelligentsia. That is what is needed for any movement. That's what we did. And even for the last 10 years also, so as you have said, we have been publishing periodically all the booklets for distribution, and at the same time conducting some seminars, inviting the political leadership, educating them, and doing our share, but we never actively put ourselves in the front of it. That is not our interest. Our interest is only the movement and to do the right thing behind the scenes. So the question is, pretty soon our Telangana is going to be reality, and both in all probability and possibility. And what NRIs can do is the question. And this has been going on in the last couple of months. So our role, I told recently we had a biannual PDF conference in TRC. So our NRI's role is going to change drastically. So what things NRIs and TDF can do for the development of Telangana? So what we visualize is we would like to transform this Telangana Development Forum into a kind of a think tank, into a kind of a congregation of the better minds of here and in years also, and do the necessary studies to promote a resource-based inclusive development for the Telangana. So to do that, it needs a bigger commitment. But to do the studies, we need to engage and inform professors or the universities or these kind of things where they take a study, a particular resource is there. So how best can utilize the resource? So studies have to be done. Once these studies are done, we can take these data and these ideas to the political leadership to promote those kind of ideas. So these are the kind of things that TDF is interested to get into. So we want to make it like a bigger think tank to do that. The second thing is, one of the things that is lacking in a public participation of the governance is, today there is no moral arbitrators of the inadequate leadership, the governance that is going on in the country. So how best you can build up an organization which can, besides giving ideas for development, and work like a moral arbitrator of the inadequacies of the political leadership. So these are the kind of the things in the future TDF is going to engage in. So we all know, for the last 60 years of independence, we have not met the potential that we are capable of. So we need to have a kind of a realistic introspection. What is failing us? Recently I just started reading a book, What or How East Asia Works. A country like South Korea, where the GNP was more or less equal 40 years ago. Today the South Korean GNP is around closer to $30,000 per person. And ours is nowhere near that, and we cannot hope to get any near that. So what is failing us? Besides, of course, one of the reasons is political leadership. But political leadership depends upon who gets involved in the process of politics. So that is what is involved. You know, I generally say to my friends, the Indian independence is achieved by the Indian middle class. So after independence, the Indian middle class is out of the loop in governance. So what the Indian government did was, they gave the jobs to the Indian middle class and the monopoly to the rich and subsidy to the poor. So the time has come for the Indian middle class, you and me, to get involved in the political process where the governance is right, the people feel what is wrong, what is right, and how best we can become a moral arbitrator on the function of the government. This is not simple, this is not easy, but it will be easy if many of us who gathered here, and like us who are outside also, show a kind of commitment which is not necessarily attributable to one's own personal benefit, but the benefit of the society at large. So these are the kind of commitments we as NRIs are looking in the Indian middle class today. We are not any different than you are. We think like you, we have the same proclivities of cultural baggage that every one of us has. But we look sometimes differently, with a different perspective, at a given problem. So we can participate in those areas with a different perspective and be partners with you. It's not that we'll make all the difference. No, we're not going to make all the difference. But we would like to be partners with you to make a difference. That is the kind of a commitment we're looking for the Indian middle class, the middle class of Telangana today. We have been the main source of TJAC's strength today. Who is the strength of TJAC? TJAC's strength is the Telangana middle class organizations have been the strength. They took the cause of Telangana to nooks and corners of the state where everybody in the village is more concerned about when we are getting Telangana than the comfortable urban Telangana today.